more applicable. Is more applicable to judo to grappling than maybe it is to boxing, where you have this sort of turning reflexes, but strength as well.
Okay.
But certainly, I excelled more as a judo.
Okay. And also, if you guys don't know much about judo, at the time it's a gi sport.
Yeah.
So you're using a gi, and these gis that these guys use aren't like a normal shirt. They're thick as hell. I mean, your hands have to be. It's like I guess the best explanation I could give is like a guitar player as he's playing guitar, rubbing your fingers raw until you get to the point where your hands can deal.
I think I've still got the calluses across the front of my knuckles. Yeah. Can you see that? Yeah, they've never gone.
There's and so the story that I actually sat with Andy for a while, and we started talking, and you started bringing out other stories that most people wouldn't have known. So at 17, you're now getting bigger. You're at the size. Now you're out of we would call high school. You're now getting out. And where did you go after that?
19 I joined the police force.
Okay.
And I mean that was a culture shock.
Okay.
I came from a fairly comfortable home, and I certainly had to start dealing with people that I just had no experience.
And what age did you join the police force?
19
years old.
Yeah. Are you allowed to join the police force at 19 in America? Or?
Yeah, but most of the time you're just getting out of, in the States, you're getting out of high school, you're now maturing, you might go to university, or you might go to college, or you might do traveling or whatever. And then at that point, you now kind of get built a little size, maybe right around 22, 23 years old. So at 19, I would consider young.
It's too young. I mean, 22 would be much better.
Okay. So, and I can't judge on that, but at 19, I don't think I was ready to be a police officer. So anyhow, at 19 years old, you're having to deal with what type of person?
Well, the most dangerous people in society. Quite often they're lowest down, at a point where they think they've got nothing to lose. Now, it's not all bad. They know at the back of their minds that if they assault a police officer seriously, they're in potentially a lot more trouble than they were before I even came into their lives. Yeah. But they're at their lowest ebb. You don't know they're making threats.
Yeah.
And at the very least, a lot of the time they'll put up a struggle. They won't be looking to injure you, but they'll be working within certain parameters. They know that if they injure a policeman seriously, they're in serious trouble. But they might look to get away. They might look.
And then there's that pinnacle moment when they're making that decision.
And you just don't know what that decision is going to be. There is no way of predicting it. So,
and how did you, because you did judo, what was your acceleration in the police force?
Right, in terms of, because judo was such a suitable martial art for those sort of situations, I was able to preempt the situation, and maybe, as someone became aggressive, who maybe started pushing you around, I was able to throw them to the floor. Now, if I'd been a boxer, the time that would not have been the time to throw.
Because you'd have been knocking people out as well.
That's right. At the time, maybe one shove, and the policeman knocks the guy out. That is not good.
And when they come to court, it's probably not good with a shiner on their face.
That's right.
Compared to being thrown on the ground.
And possibly a policeman might not be able to justify it once, but how many times could a boxing champion policeman justify that? Not that many. So from a point of view of controlling and restraining someone without hurting them, judo was perfect.
Okay. And then what was your success? Now you're a couple years now at the police force? Yeah. And what was your success there? Now let's say you're 22, 23, you're now becoming a mature adult. You'd mentioned you had some quick successes. So you were getting maybe some clout?
That's right. My judo career took off. I was well on my way to becoming a British champion.
Sure.
And the station of the police force as someone who is able to control and restrain someone was growing. It counts. Yeah. Police officers are human.
Sure.
They don't want to be scared. They don't want to be in danger. You know what I mean? They don't want to be injured. They don't want to be killed even.
Yeah.
So to be someone that's able to defend your colleagues, defend yourself, counts. Okay. So it gave me a kind of status and identity within the police force.
So now you're being you're a police officer. You're creating the success of a police officer. But on this altar side of your life, you're also developing success in judo.
That's right.
So you're competing, you're at matches, you're doing all this. And what weight class was this?
That was a heavyweight.
Heavyweight. And about what weight were you?
We did things in pounds in America.
We do pounds. So if you tell me kilos, I'm getting better. I'm getting better.
We don't even do.
I know when I deal with someone at 100 kilos, I'm dealing with a
We
shit.
can't do stones, but in pounds, I can do pounds. 224 pounds.
Wow. Okay, so you're 200. So you're a pretty solid guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at 224 pounds, now you've been competing, and you'd made the statement a second ago. You're on your way to judo champion. So at what year did you become?
December 1992, the end of 92.
1992.
That's right. I was reserved for the Olympics in 92.
What was that?
Reserved for the Olympic Games.
Oh, okay. You were reserved for the Olympic Games in 1992.
Yeah.
British champion of 1992 judo, and that's pretty big.
Yeah. It was a high level of success.
Okay.
So as you know, as an Olympic sport, it was
sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, at that point, now you've gone from basically the highest of high of the clouds. And we were mentioning something, and we had talked about bringing this up because we have highs and lows in life. What had happened then? Now you've become British champion.
Yeah.
You've got belts, that people wish they had. But you had mentioned there was other things going on.
It started to go downhill. Or shall I say, shall I take full responsibility? I went down.
Sure.
I was being sent to so many dangerous incidents again. Because of the success I'd had. I don't want to blame anyone else. I don't want to say it was them they sent me. But it was, every day was dangerous incident after dangerous incident, which I was being specifically asked to deal with. And to deal with the stress of that, I drank.
So it brought you to your way, your outlet, I guess you would say.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not trying to sound as the victim here. I'm whatever choice myself.
Okay.
But I drank.
So at that time, your outlet was drinking, and everybody has sips back on grandpa's old cough medicine. We're not here promoting that, but certain people do it. However, your personality is an extremist, so that took you to that next level. So at that point,
right. And the level of danger, we're not talking about the odd skirmish, being sent into houses to try and find deadly individuals, searching through the house.
We're talking big biker gangs. We're talking gang members.
Basically, the top end, the people who were seen as the most dangerous, the most potentially lethal. I was seen as the.
If I would have put this,
as the kind of solution to that.
Sure, kind of correlated together. You were the elite, like the SWAT.
Yes, without a gun.
Without a gun. And you know what? I forgot to mention this part. In Britain, you weren't allowed to carry a gun as a police officer. So when you were going in, most of the people that had guns weren't the good guys.
No, that's right.
So you had to prepare to disarm or be prepared to have a knife or a gun, and all you had was a whopping baton.
Not even an extendable one. It was a kind of quaint wooden one. I mean, I know American tourists would laugh. They would say, if I posted a photo with one, they would say,
"What are you going to do with
Can you get your baton out, please, and hold it?" That is so cute.
So now here you are. You've had this success. Now you're at the next stage. And what happens? You've been drinking now. You've now had the stress of
I added to the
such success and being a judo champion. And what happens?
Yeah, I added driving to the drinking.
Those don't go well.
No.
Okay.
No, and I was caught drink driving. So that carried an automatic dismissal with it.
Okay. And at that point, you were dismissed from the police force.
Yeah.
And
in disgrace, in a huge, well publicised front page of the local paper.
Sure.
Several times.
Yeah. So, because your name was known at the time.
Because I was known,
in the town.
Yeah.
So you go down for drinking and driving. You're now out of the police force, and then what do you do next?
Well, I started doing door work or.
What we would call bouncers.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a case really of using my skills to pay the bills.
Okay, that kind of rhymes.
Yeah, rhymes.
Well,
appropriate.
You have another skill level. Okay. Okay, so now you're a bouncer, and you're dealing with kind of the toughest of tough.
That's right, yeah, equally dangerous, but people, again, now without the kind of reservation that they might have had in dealing with a policeman. I say might have had, you could never be sure, but now it is much more likely that someone would just swing for a door or swing for because they might see it as a vehicle to street traffic.
One thing that you had said before that I think triggered my brain is that you had mentioned that when you're a police officer, you have kind of the prestige is I'm a cop. They're not going to hit you because maybe I'm a cop. But as a doorman, you know, you might take a swing at a doorman because you want to get out.
That's right, exactly.
Because he can't convict you of anything, not take you to court.
It's going to be 50-50 if the doorman takes you to court. It's going to be a 50-50 trial. People don't see doormen as saints. You know what I mean? And they might. It's unlikely that the person will get just a little sentence. So there's a lot less to lose, and in terms of prestige, there's a lot more to gain. So,
and one of the things that in our past conversations that we've talked about is that as a doorman, you are now getting thrown everything at you.